There are a lot of racetracks in the world, but few inspire fear like Mount Panorama. Located in Bathurst, Australia, this 3.8-mile circuit is a challenge from bottom to top. Climb a mountain between snaking concrete walls for half the lap. The other half is a free fall down the other side of the mountain. It's a controlled crash, a dip, a dive, and a run down an enormous straightaway into a crazy braking zone. Makes tracks like Watkins Glen from last week look like child's play. Tonight, Grid Life iRacers takes on the mountain in two 20-minute sprint races. It's the Grid Life iRacers Sports Car Challenge, and it begins now. Welcome to Sim TV on YouTube and Facebook. I'm joined tonight by Larry Lefty McLeod. Larry, tonight we take on Bathurst, the second round of the season. We've got 50 cars here tonight in two 20-minute races. It's going to be busy and hectic, especially in the opening laps.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of right now, the term is butterflies. It's excitement and fear all sort of rolled into one. Excitement that some big-name drivers, these awesome cars, but fear for the opening lap or two, because this place is tight. Talk about threading the needle. This track, I can't imagine. I've seen it on TV. I've driven it in the sim. This place is so tight between these concrete barriers. We've got, about 50-some cars that are going to be squeezing between these walls. I can't imagine that this is going to go well, but I'm hoping, fingers are crossed, it's going to turn out well. This is going to be crazy.
Riding on board with Tom O'Gorman as we head down the hill in his qualifying lap. We've got about 3 minutes left in qualifying at the moment. And you're going to watch Tom 150 miles an hour down the hill towards the dipper, down to second gear, over the dive. And Larry, it's a controlled crash down here, threading the needle between the walls. And it's fine and dandy when you're all by yourself, but you add 50 other cars in here and two classes, GT3 and TCR machinery. And I think hectic, crazy, those words are massive understatements compared to what we're going to see a little while into this race.
Oh, totally, yeah. This place is a challenge. If you're just by yourself, just turning crazy laps, you throw in someone behind you, next to you, in front of you, and maybe someone on either side of you, and forget it, all bets are off. You're watching your mirrors, you're watching in front of you. I just can't imagine. Up and across the top through the skyline, as you showed, Tom, through the dip going to the S's, then you unleash it down that Conrad straight. It's just about a mile plus of just wide open throttle. Things will spread out a little bit, but then as Tom, you're showing him now going through Murray Corner there and down that main straight, front straight, things spread out a little bit, but none of this is going to be easy. It's just insane that you go from crazy speeds to crazy tight precision. And then you got GT3 cars, big and fast, great brakes, to the TCR cars that are just like skidding around on ice, it seems at times. And it's going to be an interesting mix.
So let's talk about the TCR cars a little bit, because the GT3s have over 30 cars entered this evening, but the TCR field isn't necessarily small either, just shy of 20 cars. These things are like tanks. They're I don't want to say that they're slow, because they're not, but compared to the GT3 cars, they're a little bit lethargic to make the corners. They got some downforce, but these are big cars, big, tall, heavy cars compared to the GT3 machinery, which feel a lot lighter with the extra 150 horsepower or so. So the challenges tonight, if you're a TCR car, is don't get rear-ended and don't get knocked off course, because the front-wheel drive isn't going to save you when there's walls to either side.
Exactly, and the trick is, again, it's sort of like that on the verge of a crash, controlled crash all the time, is you want to slide a little bit, you want to get the back end moving around, but there is that wall that's right there, and if you're in that TCR car, you want to do it to be fast, but then you want to make sure that you're not sliding over a curb, because there's, in some spots, there's a little strip of curbing, there's a little bit of a bump, there's some drainage grates, because these are public streets, up against those walls that could throw you a little harder into it. In some cases, there's a strip of grass right in front of that wall, and then you get someone right in front or behind you that's going to change your braking points, going to change your input points, that suddenly throw off your timing. And a lot of going up and around the bends across Skyline and down the S's is all about rhythm and timing, and I think it's extremely hard in a car like the TCR, a lot harder to me than it is in the GT3.
Absolutely, and we're seeing lap times sub 2 minutes here in the GT3 machinery tonight, so the qualifying has been really insane to watch. Mario, how are you going to say that name tonight? I got to get on board with your pronunciation of that. The 333 driven by Mario?
Mario, I'm going to go with Dukic.
Dukic. Okay, we're going to roll with that. Tom O'Gorman, that's a little easier name to say. He's gone second quick, a 159.809. Then Ken Halseal third, Christopher Jaeger in fourth, Austin Cobb in fifth in the 36, Jeff Royan in sixth in the Audi GT3 car tonight. Then Barroso, Catil, DeShong, and Cagliari in the number 18, his 10th quick. And then we go down to the TCR category, Eric Pennington on pole with a 2:18.773. So that's almost a 20-second a lap difference in speed. So we are going to see some lap traffic, and it's going to get really, really wild out there. So qualifying complete. Ducic and Pennington on pole in their respective classes. 20-minute races, 2 of them tonight, as we get ready to go racing. Let's take a look at our track conditions this evening. 64 in the air, 91 on the racetrack. Now it's just dropped down to 70 for the race this evening. We're going to have a qualifying session in right before race 2. We're not going to grid it by the finishing order of race 1 like we did last week, just to avoid the confusion that we had at the start of race number 2. So the grid is setting up for the race here tonight. It'll be about 11 laps here, Larry. What is your goal on lap 1? I mean, is it just survive, or is it different for drivers depending on where you start?
I think it's totally about survival. I don't think anybody's goal should be to try and pick up any more than 1 spot in the opening lap. I mean, if somebody misses a shift, somebody misses a turn in and slides a little bit, fine, pick up that spot. But this is not the hero first lap sort of move. I know it's a sprint format. We're probably going to see, what are we talking about, 2 minutes a lap, 20 minutes. So we're talking probably about 9-10 laps. There's going to be opportunities to pass when you get to the drafting of the straights, but going especially through cutting and then up and around through the park section and then across the S's, not the places to be picking up any positions. Let it sort itself out, get to the straightaways, and maybe going into the first braking zone into the chase as we get towards the end of the first lap. That might be the first opportunity to really think about making moves and then let things settle down there. Let the race come to you. Maybe not be aggressive until you get to there.
Climbing a mountain and then falling back off. That is Mount Panorama Circuit here in Bathurst, Australia. And the track temperature is relatively cool, so it'll be fairly grippy. We've seen lap times be incredibly fast, so there's a little extra grip to play with. But a lot of drivers have opted to choose the Mercedes AMG here, Larry. Why do you think that is? Is it just the torque that car offers, or is it the sound? I know you're a big fan of the sound.
I do love the sound. Big fan of that big engine. But I think it's a bit easier to drive if you ask me. I think the way that it moves around, especially going down through the dipper around the S's, I think it's the easier one to take. But I don't think it's the only one to be fast. I think Cobb that's running the McLaren. He's up there in 5th. So I think it can be done in some other platforms, but I just think that the Mercedes is just kind of like the easy button.
So another driver I've noticed in the field here tonight is the number 15, driven by Jackie Ding. It's the first time I think he's ever driven in Grid Life iRacers. Of course, a time attack driver, very proficient time attack driver in Grid Life. So good to see him in the field tonight. But we're going to head back towards the front of the field because it's time to go racing here at Mount Panorama Circuit. And Tom O'Gorman on the outside. And we know he's got experience in the TCR machines, but he's chosen GT3 this evening. 20 minutes on the board for race 1 and for race 2. It's time to bring it from Bathurst, Australia. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Mount Panorama.
It's an interesting line to try and get an extra run coming off the last turn to make sure he secured that number 2 spot. They sort themselves out pretty well. A little bit of back in the pack there. Some folks sliding wide through that first corner. They call it hell.
TCR start underway. Kevin Zhu in the number 25 leading everybody down into turn number 1. So far, so good for the TCR machines as GT3 makes their way. We're 3 wide heading up to turn 2 in the middle of the GT3 field. Somehow we make it through there without wadding everybody up.
Interesting there is DJ Allison really did not choose to qualify, choosing to start at the back of the TCRs. So choosing to not get caught in the fray, rather pick his way through.
Now up through the cutting towards McPhillamy Park at full speed here, over 120 miles an hour before you crest the top of the hill. And so far, I don't think we've lost a whole lot of GT3 cars, if any at all, through McPhillamy Park now. Ducic leads the way, O'Gorman trying to follow, but they're going to crest the hill and head down towards the bottom of the hill.
This is where it gets interesting, just trying to pick a really clean braking point down here into the S's the first time through. Tires are warming up, and to hit that dipper just right. This is where the middle of the pack becomes interesting, is how comfortable is everyone trying to do this on the first time through.
Bit of a cut for Jackie Ding, but he's going to get back on course and maybe just lose a little bit of time. Now the TCR cars make their way towards the top of the hill through McPhillamy Park. It's the 31 of Pennington that has control of the race. Now he's going to head down towards the dippers, bring Zhu, Lupfer, Hagford, and Gilsinger with him in the number 77. Car around in front of them. GT3's wadded up. And
that's what I was worried about. You start seeing some spinning there. Yep, it's Kevin Zhu going around.
Oh, that's at the bottom of the dipper. That's a bad spot to be backwards. And he's kind of stuck. He'll have to wait for the field to go by. And Zoo, as quick as he was at the front of the field, now he's at the back.
Did the right thing, though, just kind of waiting it out.
Final corner, and Mario Ducic leads the way. And he'll lead lap number 1. O'Gorman second. Hausil, Cobb, Barroso. The rest of your top 5.
Now, Gorman did just run the 12-hour sim race last weekend. I believe it was with the Hausil and with Patil. They ran a 3-man team. I think they were even in the top split. Did very well. Finished, I think, top 5 or 6 in that race. So he's got some experience at this track just this week and try and put some of that experience to the test here in this sprint format.
Yeah, they did finish P5 in top split, which is a really impressive feat. And of course, again, that was O'Gorman, Catil and Hausil. Into turn 2, Chris DeShong muscles his way by and a bit of a stack up there, and Lemon's going to go around for a loop. And so does a couple other drivers. I think that's Vincent Cernuto in the 555. He's had an issue, and they're going to reset back to pit lane. Gil Winningham also going to do the same. So Pennington's pulled a bit of a gap in TCR. Lupfer, Gilsinger, Hagford, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. They're together. And then it's a big gap back to Val DiPietro in 5th. Engelbert, Christoph, and Alessandrini, the next 3 cars in that group.
Yeah, I think Pennington got a little bit of help there when Zoo went around there into the dipper. A lot of the other field kind of backed off a little bit to let Zoo clear, giving a bit of an advantage there for Pennington to get a little bit of a gap.
They're going to work their way up the hill again, and it's all calm and fine and dandy for now until the GT3 cars make their way into the TCR category. Now on Conrad Straight, Ducic and O'Gorman, but O'Gorman's got some pressure from Ken Hausil from behind, and the draft on the long Conrad Straight, that's going to be a good opportunity to pass into the chase.
Life on his tail going into here. Not ready to make the move yet. Can play the patience game. Maybe try to get him on the mountain straight going into Griffin's.
Oh, a little off, and Hausil's going to go around hard in the wall.
Oh, just got some grass there on the left. Coming to the chase. He's going to call the tow.
That's brutal. And just a little bit over the edge of the curb. And the Australians love to put big, massive curbs around their courses, Larry. And there's a reason why. It's because if you go over the edge, you're going to have a bad time.
You know, this place used to run a lot of motorcycle races. And you know what they don't allow anymore are... it's just become too dangerous for it. Now this place is famous for touring cars. It's pretty much all they run here anymore. Because you do want to be wrapped in a cage around here. Because, yeah, there's curbs, there's walls, there's all sorts of things to hit around here. It is a dangerous place. Man, is it exciting.
Jeff Arroyan leading Eric Catil up the mountain. He's currently 5th in class, and the Audi's screaming with that V10 up towards the cutting. We're right on board here. Bit of a bobble. And an awkward moment as Catil slides on by, and Catil will take 5th place away.
Very smooth start here. Started in 8th. Now looks like he's up to, what is it, 6th or 5th?
Yeah, Catil started in 8th place, up to 5th in the GT3 class now. A little bit of damage on the right front of that car, so he might have had a piece of the wall or another competitor, but continues to ride and still making up pretty good time.
And again, Catil was part of that threesome with Hausil and O'Gorman that just ran, so he definitely has got seat time recently here. So maybe couldn't get the qualifying lap in that he wanted, but appears to have pace.
Nick Nelson leading a bit of a charge down the hill. He's got Tizano, Boley, and Jackie Ding in behind him. Although Ding's a couple seconds back. Derek King, he's crashed at the top of the hill in McPhillamy Park. He's gone around. We'll take a quick look to see exactly how he got himself in that position. He was following Jackie Ding. And might have just... Oh, Ding slowed down a little bit, and it was kind of an awkward moment. He got the Ferrari unsettled and just kind of bounced off the inside fence.
Weird to see Jackie in a Mercedes here this weekend, not a usual Toyota, but...
No Supra GT3 just yet.
Exactly, not yet.
So now, we got a little bit of traffic, or at least that was Ken Hausil working his way back through the front of the TCR field, but Pennington leads the way by 2.1 seconds in TCR. It's Max Lupfer that's got 2nd place, but they've all kind of spread out, although Val DiPietro and Alessandrini follow each other down the hill.
Loving the Subaru paint job there on the Audi of Max Lupfer.
Yeah, kind of fitting.
A front-wheel drive Audi with a all-wheel drive
yeah.
Subaru paint scheme on it.
Justin Tizano putting pressure on the 15. I think that actually might be the 23. It is the 23 of Charles Boley. Jackie Ding is in behind. And again, they're all chasing Nick Nelson in the Wins AMG just up the road. Fully to the inside, contact with the 26, and he's going to go around in turn 2 in a bad spot again. Only a few more cars. He's actually going to reset the race car and head back to pit lane. Alessandrini has gotten around Valdipietro. That's for 5th in TCR. So move Alessandrini up to P5 after he started at the tail of the field in his class.
Yeah, he's picking his way through. I think he felt more comfortable doing that than staying in being caught with a couple of folks at the beginning. Maybe he felt like, you know what, let's let the front sort its way out, and then I can just pick traffic once everyone's got their tires warmed up.
So now the question becomes, where is Ducek? And he's entering the chase right now. And the TCR cars are not that far away, so we're closing in on dealing with lap traffic. And everyone's gotten a little bit of room to race here, Larry, so I think this will go a bit smoother than maybe we expected it to be. But again, you never really know, depending on where you catch cars, how difficult it's going to be.
Yeah, and I think that the team is very, the group here is very aware of it because of how things went last week. Obviously, these same two classes ran a week ago at Watkins Glen. They're familiar with kind of how the interchange could go. And there's been a lot of instructions sent out the last couple of days. Tomo has sort of been Coach Tom, putting on his coaching hat, kind of reminding folks where good and bad places to both pass within and as well as between classes. So I think we're going to see some of that here on display as the GT3 start catching the TCRs.
And also some GT3 lap traffic to deal with as well. So we're going to ride on board with Ducek as he climbs the hill in the 333 car and keeping it tight to that concrete wall. But then you're kind of full throttle up until you kind of crest this right-hander under the Fujitsu bridge. And now TCR traffic, ooh, a bit dicey there. Contact with the 48. That's not going to work. More contact.
He's nose in there because he's feeling the O'Gorman pressure. He's got to keep moving.
And here comes Tomo to the outside, battle for the lead in GT3 as they head towards the Dipper.
Tomo just used all of that like a pick in basketball.
Now following the leader down the hill, and this is, oh, cars stopped in front of there is the TCR car that just reset and just got out of the way. Just in time to avoid a collision with our leaders in GT3.
Going to be interesting. Trying to make their way through here.
Oh, off the racetrack
Going
is the
off
race
the
leader. Oh, man. That's Zoo. He's going to move over to driver's left, and both the leaders get on through.
And Tom's got the run. He never lost any of the momentum there, but I think Mario did, and this is where Tom's got it. If Mario gives him even an inch of room going here into the kink. Oh.
Around another.
Traffic there on the right. Kind of took the kink away from Tom. Had to fall in line.
Into the chase, but now he's back in draft range, so maybe he can hang on there. The draft here, between turns 1 and 2 and down from the bottom of the hill to the chase, is very strong. It can keep you in touch even if you lose some time over the mountain, so Tom's
These
there.
Are really long straightaways.
It is very long.
You know, the trace down the Conrad Straight, it's something like 1.2 miles or something down the Conrad Straight, and the mountain straight is about a half to 3/4 of a mile long. These are extremely long straightaways. You get a lot of time to play in draft. So we'll see if Tomo can use this now down the mountain straight as they head up to Griffin's Bend.
Full throttle up over the crest of the hill. And a bit more of a gap until they get to the rest of the TCR traffic.
I don't think he's got enough to catch him, but he's going to stay right on his tail as they head up into cutting.
Let's see if Tom can gain anything. I'm kind of trying to figure out where Ducek is a little better than Tomo, because he had pulled out to about a 1.5-second lead. And of course, that was all a race a lap ago when they got stuck in behind the 48 car of Kevin Glass.
It might actually be through this stretch. I think the last lap, Tomo was helped by the lap traffic. They kind of held up Mario, but Mario, I think, through this stretch is very good, very precise. You can see him opening up a little bit as they go through the park section here, approaching Skyline.
And you have to be precise. There's no way to do that imprecisely, because if you do, you're going to end up crashed and out of the race. Down the hill behind. Oh man, this is going to get tight again. This is a bad place to catch traffic.
Yep. So every time he starts to stretch it out just a little bit, he hits the lap traffic, and Tomo's able to get right on him. And that's how these races tend to be. I mean, he's got the pace to pull away, but unfortunately, this is how the game is. It's going to be traffic to deal with. Tomo, we know, is very good in traffic. We'll see how well Mario is able to, with the pressure of Tomo behind him, manage that traffic. If he can maybe get one time to traffic and force Tomo to have to deal with it behind him, that might be all he needs to really pull away.
We're past halfway here, 8 minutes left to go. And that was Val DiPietro pulling off the racetrack to let the GT3 leaders on through. No challenge in TCR just yet. Pennington's got a significant lead over second place DJ Alessandrini, so we're going to keep you up front in the GT3 lead because Tom O'Gorman takes a look into the final corner. But no dice there. Have to tuck back in line.
He's really pressuring him. I don't know if the pressure's going to help. I think Mario is pretty cool under pressure here. Mario's only weakness is, I think, the timing. I think it's not even anything he's doing. It's the timing he keeps getting caught where he's catching these PCR cars. Nothing he can really do much about it.
Off the road again. That time it was the 77 car, I believe.
This track is so narrow, so it's so hard to fathom. Is this, when it's not used as a racetrack, it's public roads. These are a two-way public road. But so it's essentially as wide as any two-lane side street you might find at home. So what is this, about a maybe 22, 25-foot wide track that they're trying to put two race cars down? This is just insane. And
by the way, they're doing it about 120 miles an hour in spots up through between these walls, up to 150 at the top of the hill.
It's just amazing. The speeds to do what they're doing through this stretch where, look on either side of the track, it's nothing more than just either a couple of feet of grass and a wall, and on the other side it's grass wall and a cliff that drops off a couple of 100 feet.
Now there's a lot of traffic heading down the hill now. You see the leaders come on through here in just a moment. There they go. And Ducha continues to lead. O'Gorman second. Barroso's 5 seconds back from this grouping. And TCR battles, none at the moment. We'll take you there if there is one. Oh, that's a loose TCR right in front of Tom O'Gorman.
I think that car was trying his best to stay out of the way there and probably might have spun after they had let the leaders by. So a good effort there. I'm not sure who that was, but I'll give him the kudos for trying to stay out of the way of the leaders coming through.
They're trying to take a look at who that might have been. I think it was Max Toyer in the 944 in the Red Bull car. Now they're 3 wide with the GT3 Z4 up the middle. That is the third place car. I believe that's Alex Barroso who just went middle 3 wide.
Tom on this lap, and this lap didn't seem to be holding up Mario too much, but Tom was done a much better job of staying in, filling the entire mirror, Mario's mirror, if I can say that 3 times. Where the past couple times through, especially going up to the park section, Mario was pulling away, but not this time. Quickly
to take you to a battle back in 9th in GT3. Patrick Gallagher and Tan Nugent? Is that how you would say that? Nugent?
Nguyen.
Nguyen. Okay, that's close enough. Gallagher in 9th. And the 20 car in 10th. Pass for position complete. 0-0 at P9.
One of our Ferraris there for Tan.
Now, I will say the lead in TCR is dwindling just slightly. It was over 5 seconds. Now, Alessandrini has cut it down to 4.4 in TCR.
But he's lapping about 2 seconds a lap faster than Eric.
It's only a matter of time. See DJ at the back of that shot there coming into the turn 2 area.
With about 5 minutes to go, about 3 laps.
He's going to get there as long as he keeps that pace.
And it doesn't have to yield too often to GT3s, but as we know after watching DJ over the years, he doesn't yield too often even when he's supposed to.
Down into the dipper again, Duchik and O'Gorman. Into the dipper.
Caught again. The PCR car was trying to stay out of the way.
Oh, O'Gorman almost into the concrete, trying to run wide enough to miss that car. Job well done, but lost some ground.
There's a Coors Light car. You got distracted by the Coors.
Justin Tizano and Jackie Ding. This is for 12th in class. And Ding, I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with Jackie so far. I know that he's quite familiar with racing simulators, but we have never seen him in the Grid Life iRacers group before. This is his first outing here. So to see him running in 13th and just to survive this race is a true testament to how quickly he can adapt to things, especially when he hasn't been in this group before. This is one heck of a way to get your feet wet.
Yeah, this group is a unique group to run with for sure. Got to get used to how they run together and how this format works. Yeah, so it's good to have him out here and playing with us. You mentioned last week, I think he was online watching, but not actually playing. Maybe your shout out to him got him get there.
We'll keep shouting him out because we want to keep seeing him here. He's closing in Tizano for that 12th spot. And we're going to just quickly jump up to the leader just to keep an eye in case they make a move. But O'Gorman, as they head up towards turn 2, has kept that gap at less than 0.2 of a second. We're going to jump back to P12 because Tizano might lose this spot to Jackie Ding here. Not quite close enough to make a pass into the chase. He'll have to set that one up and try again.
Keeping an eye on O'Gorman there. He is just glued to the back of Dukic. It just completely glued to his bumper as they climb the mountain.
And you have to be flawless. I mean, I mentioned earlier that, you know, if you're not precise here, there's no runoff room. It's a concrete wall. You slip an inch, you're going to take off your entire right side of your race car. And O'Gorman has been flirting with that every single lap, trying to make up any ground he can on Dukic. But down the hill again, jumping the curb into the dipper.
And it's one of those tracks too that if you're a little bit conservative and you decide to leave a couple of inches, your time just completely falls away. It's insane the penalty that you pay for trying to be conservative to that. You really do have to put it on that nice edge in order to get the most out of the lap time. So if to me it's harder actually to be Mario in the lead car because you have to set that pace and you have to be the rabbit. If you're Tomo, you can kind of set your marks to what's happening in front of you. It's almost a little bit easier to do it that way, I think, than if you're the lead car. The lead car is, to me, always a little bit harder.
We're going to have 2 minutes and 7 seconds left. To me, that says right now, as they work their way through the chase, this next lap will be the last lap. So white flag will fly for Dukic this time through. And they got a little bit of GT3 traffic to deal with as well this lap. So O'Gorman, less than a half a second behind. They have 3.8 miles to determine the winner of this one.
All right, who's going to get it? What do you think?
I think Dukic has done a great job hanging on to it. I think he's going to have it. We'll keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, for 8th, Gallagher and DeShong trading positions. 00 takes 8th place away. How about TCR? Pennington and Alessandrini, 2.3 seconds separating them.
Yeah, DJ is right there in that pounce range. Where is he on track?
Heading into the chase right now. And 2 corners left for Alessandrini, and he's got 2.3 seconds to make up. Meanwhile, Jackie Ding has gotten by Tizano for P12 at the bottom of the hill. And car around in front of him, it's a TCR car. That's Max Toyer. He's going to slide off track. Ding jams on the binders, will lose the spot back to Tizano as he avoids a spinning race car. Crest of the hill. Dukic leads O'Gorman by 0.3 of a second.
And they're going to catch some cars here going in through the S's. It's GT3s, which in a way may be harder to get around them if they're held up at all. But it's going to put O'Gorman in a pretty good spot down the Conrad Straight and maybe get a draft going into the chase on the last lap.
It's a McLaren MP412C and a BMW Z4. But I'm not sure that they're going to have to deal with them. They're about a half a second up the road. O'Gorman half a second back.
That might actually give a bit of a draft for Mario.
And they're going to fight. They're going to fight it out right in front of the 2 leaders. Only a couple of corners left for Dukic. He's led every single lap from the pole. Can he get it done? He's got Tom O'Gorman trying to get there from behind, but I don't think he's going to get there. 2 more corners. Oh, crash in front of him. Right in front of the leaders. Dukic goes right. O'Gorman comes. Here he comes to the outside. Bump, bang. 1 corner left. Checkered flag waves, final corner. O'Gorman swings to driver's right. Crossover. Here they come. Drag race to the start-finish line. And Dukic gets it by half a car length. Holy cow. What a race.
Wow. Dukic there just ice in his veins to not lose it with the 2 spinning in front of him. I just thought he was just going to completely go car right in the grass and spin it and hand it off to Tomo to be able to hold on there at the 3 corners. That was amazing.
Not done yet. Eric Pennington leads TCR by 0.7 of a second, but Alessandrini got a great run onto the back straightaway. He's pretty far back, but I've seen crazier things. Almost 150 miles an hour. That's pretty much terminal velocity for the Audi RS3 TCR. 153 is where it's going to tack out into the braking zone for the chase.
They are going to be coming again right down to the last corner.
Alessandrini from the back of the pack is going to have one last run at Pennington in the final corner.
Does his strategy of starting at the back and picking his way through pay off, or is he going to fall 1 spot short?
It'll be 1 spot short. Pennington gets the job done at Bathurst.
Good job for Eric there.
Great racing all around. Surprisingly few accidents. I know we didn't go back and look at all of them because it's pretty hard to keep up with it all, but from what we saw, Larry, that was spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. No pile-ups, no in the way. I didn't see anybody, blocking the track. None of that gloom and doom that we were all worried about. going through this narrow thread the needle across the top of the mountain. None of that. What we saw a lot of was even the slow cars, the folks at the back of the pack, moving away for the leaders, which made the leaders race so much more exciting because they essentially had clean track to get through. And that battle between Mario and Tom was just incredible. And DJ able to do what he did, making his way back up to a podium finish in PCR with really not having to worry about big piles in front of him and things. And some mid-great battles there in the 7, 8, 9 positions in GT3. I think it was great battles all over without having to deal with all of that, the gloom and doom and all the bent metal and everything else that we thought maybe we'd see. Didn't see any of it.
Absolutely. We saw some great racing, especially at the front of the field between Dukic and O'Gorman. Barroso just had a touch, but again, we have a second race coming up, so don't go anywhere because we're going to do it all over again for another 20 minutes and a whole other qualifying effort that these guys will have to do as well. So for Alessandrini, maybe he'll qualify this time and put himself in position to go out and just win race 2.
Yeah, that'll be interesting if he chooses to qualify now, having done it from the further back, or maybe he switches classes, as we saw last week. A couple of drivers decided to jump to the other class for the second race. I'm kind of curious now what everybody chooses to do.
We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Stay with us for the start of race 2. It'll be about 5 or 6 minutes till you see us again. Stay with us.
To most.
Would you like to have a career in racing, and if so, what would you like to do, Dale?
Well, I want to be a race car driver someday. It's all I've ever known, racing.
What did you want to be when you grew up? So many people live a life of what if. Go to school. Go to college. Get a 9-to-5. This is how we support our dreams. With a safety net. Because we're unsure about taking a leap of faith. Because we're afraid. As we grow, we cross things off our list of dreams. We cut them down, make them realistic. Having control of things is reassuring. But for some, the rush of being out of control is what gives them life. Some say racing cars is reckless. Maybe they're right. Out of bounds isn't just cheating, it's cheating death. Football fields made up in seconds. Decisions made in instants. For the people that climb behind the wheel of these cars, they're not driving it. They become part of it. It's an extension of the body. As a child, I looked up to these people, faces hidden by helmets. The less you saw of the driver, the more believable it became that they were, in fact, just part of the machine. It's easy to forget that inside the cockpit is someone just like us, but with the mindset that fear is a motivation, not a barrier. But the reality is, race car drivers are not like us. They never cross anything off their list of dreams. They just keep writing more. Daytona.
This is the finish of the Daytona 500. Side by side.
Le Mans. Indianapolis. Monaco. Places that used to be just places, now international symbols of victory. To those that enjoy the spectacle of racing, the 2 feet of concrete and steel cables are a wall between us and them, between sitting in the grandstands and standing in victory lane. These same walls are a stark, immovable reminder that racing drivers put their lives on the line for the sake of the thrill and entertainment. Despite the risk, despite the heartbreak,
Oh my gosh!
despite the cost.
Holy crap, we got a terrible wreck behind you.
There are some on the sidelines who are fascinated by the danger. They are fascinated by speed, fascinated by the undying desire to be just a little bit better. Their dreams erased by geography, finances, or the lack of a famous last name. There are some who once wished to be a race car driver, but aren't, because they didn't get the chance. And they thought they'd spend the rest of their lives watching their heroes on television, or from the other side of the fence. They thought it was impossible to climb into a race car, so they crossed it off their list. But it's not impossible. There is a ticket to the other side of the fence. For those who want it bad enough, this is your chance.
saw how good the racing was in race one just a few minutes ago. That racing was so good, Larry, but now it's time for race number 2, 20 minutes again. I think we got a good preview of what to expect for this second race again, 20 minutes. But do you think anything's going to be different this time? Are drivers going to be better? Are they going to be more aggressive? Or do you think it'll look a lot like race 1?
I'm one of the people that believes the pendulum never stops swinging. When you get a race that's full of mayhem, it tends to swing to a lot of caution. And when you have a race full of caution, it tends to swing towards mayhem. And my worry now is we're about to see some mayhem unleashed. Because everyone's going to walk away and say, that went really well. Didn't have a lot of crashes. We had a lot of good racing. I suspect we're going to see some pushing the limits here a little bit more. We had some really good racing at the front. We had some good, clean racing in the middle. I'm really curious how the back of the pack and the confidence levels step up now here in race number 2.
I think the big question mark is about Ken House-Seal. He crashed out of race number 1, but I don't think he's going to make that same mistake twice, Larry. So can we expect Ken House-Seal to be battling with Ducic and O'Gorman in race 2, or do you think he'll have a similar incident happen and he'll end up at the back of the field?
I totally expect Ken's going to shake that off, come right back, and it's going to at least be a 3-car race. Would not be surprised to see Casil make a 4-car race. Looked on qualifying right now, he's back in about 6th, but I suspect he was qualified 8th or 9th in the first race. He's also got some rhythm. I think he'll be up there, probably in this mix with Mario, with O'Gorman, with Ken. I think we're going to see a bit tighter at the front as well. These guys now have had basically a 20-minute practice session now under their belt.
So about 2 minutes left in qualifying, and I think we saw qualifying be important for race 1, but I don't think it was the end-all be-all. We saw DJ Alessandrini work his way through the field. He started at the back of the TCR grid, ended up making his way forward. What's the plan for race 2? Do you think he's going to go out there, qualify, and try to start a little bit better, or do you think he's going to try to do the same thing and come from the back of the pack again?
I don't see him qualifying right now, if that answers your question.
I guess it does. It almost worked out for me. Almost won the race regardless. Ended up second in class.
Yeah, he finished on the tail of the leader, finishing in second. I'm thinking maybe he's probably got the same thought of all it took was maybe a little different here, a little different there. Maybe he could have won. His pace certainly was good enough. He was running in the 217s again, which is where he was in practice earlier in the evening. They're qualifying right now at a 2:19.0, I think. So if he feels again he could run 2 seconds a lap quicker, if he's a little better at picking his way through traffic, maybe he's confident again that he could win this race.
So Kevin Glass in the 45, another one of the TCR drivers that really didn't get an opportunity to race up towards the front, had some issues early, as did Max Toyer in the number 944. So we'll see if they can have things go a little bit smoother for them this time. Max Lupfer in the 688. He was relatively competitive in race 1, and we've seen him be extremely competitive. Even in the last series that we did, the Crowd Control Cup with the Mustangs, he seems to like the slower kind of, I don't want to say heavier cars, because TCR cars aren't necessarily heavy, but it is a little bit more or less nimble than the GT3 machineries. He seems to kind of enjoy these cars. So we'll see if he can work his way up. Currently 5th right now in qualifying, so he'll start on the inside of row number 3.
The other one that struggled that first race, we saw right there in the opening lap, was Kevin Zhu. He started right, I think, on the front row in this group, and was going through the dip in the first lap and spun out, had to wait for the field to go by, and never really recovered. So be curious here if he's able to get a good qualifying spot. He might be that wild card that's able to keep DJ behind him for a long race, and not let DJ win with his DJ strategy of trying to win from the back. So we'll kind of see where Kevin lands here, and he is out there qualifying right now.
So 36 seconds left in qualifying. You see the order on the left-hand side of the screen in each class. Ducic again. Austin Cobb with a phenomenal qualifying effort. 2 minutes, 0.243 seconds. That puts him second quick. Barroso third. And then take a look at TCR. Pennington, Hagford, and Gilsinger. 1, 2, 3. All separated by about 1.1 seconds between Hagford, Pennington, and Gilsinger. So going to be a really competitive race in both categories. Qualifying is complete. Ducic again. Do you think he goes and leads every lap this time, or does someone go up there and fight with him?
I think he's going to have a fight on his hands. We saw last week Austin Cobb put on a pretty good show there with a first and a second in the 2 races. Here he's got the McLaren sitting inside on the outside of front row. I think maybe he's got something to bring here in the second race. Barroso was at the BMW that I see there on the second row, so maybe we finally got somebody break up the whole pack of the Mercs. now with Cobb and Barroso. I think Ducic, he's going to have to worry a little bit, although at least he's got some people between himself and O'Gorman if he really thinks that O'Gorman is his biggest rival. But I think Cobb showed last week that he can run a full race. I don't know much about Barroso and Yager, but Cobb, I think, is probably the biggest rival right now, right there on that front row with Mario.
You see a couple rows back, Chris DeShong in the red Ferrari as well. I think that's one of the highest scored Ferraris. There's a few more right behind him. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they compete. So you're going to see, I think DeShong is going to be starting in, I think, 10th place. The starting grid going to roll there in just a moment, so I'll tell you that. No, it might be 12th, rather. But a lot of Mercedes, as you mentioned, but the cars' differences. The Mercedes got a lot of torque, but we've seen the other cars be competitive, the Z4, the McLaren. Where do you think having a car like the Ferrari benefits you the most around a place like this?
I think that's just, to me, it's one of those cars where going up and around through the parks where you can kind of really use that weight balance, where you get the high speed after you've gone through the cutting and through the corners 5, 6, 7 up until you get to Skyline. I think the way the speed changes into the S's and through the dipper, I think the Ferrari to me might be a little bit more difficult to control. That's why I think the Mercedes, the front engine Mercedes, BMW, I think might be a little bit easier to manage. That's, as I mentioned earlier in the first race, that's kind of the easy button and the easier car to drive. The Ferrari, I think, really does well in the higher speed stuff and the higher speed, long sustained corners, and I'm not sure this track really has that sort of advantage.
So we're about ready to get rolling here on the warm-up lap, and everyone has taken the grid. No one's going to bail out of this one, so everyone is set and ready to go. Last time we didn't have a whole lot of incidents on the opening lap, so we're going to hope and pray that that stays the same this time through. Zinfield working their way down towards the chase. Probably your best passing opportunity. We saw that get a little bit messy at the end of race 1 right in front of our leaders. Going to have to do it all over again for another 10 laps tonight. Up at the front of the field, Austin Cobb in that McLaren MP412C on the outside of the front row. That's a traditionally very challenging car to drive here in iRacing, so we'll see if he can make it work for him. Field rolls through the final corner here at Bathurst. 3.8 miles of mountainous terrain for 10 laps, 20 minutes. Green flag in the air again at Bathurst.
Not a great start by Cobb. Fall back really quickly there with Barroso and Jaeger both jumping by him. Not a good start there at all for him.
No, they were 2 and 3 wide, deeper in the field. And a bit of contact towards the tail, but otherwise, all clean and green through the first part.
And speaking of green, it looks like O'Gorman jumps up to third there, right through the first corner. And he's going to be hot on the heels of Barroso and Dukic here going into Cutter right on the opening lap.
Whoa, car spinning behind him right in the middle of turn 2. That's going to be a horrible spot to be stopped. I think we got everyone going again, so they must have been able to correct it. Meanwhile, TCR lead. Pennington pulls away. Miles Gilsinger in second. Hagford third. Side by side behind him for 5th place. That's Val DiPietro in the green car.
TCR crowd. This is the one that worries me a little bit. These guys typically take a lap or so to get into a rhythm. Watching them go side by side and the cutting here on these opening laps is just sort of frightening to me.
Kevin Zhu went around again, so opening lap not good for him. Oh, big crash behind him. Car tumbling over on its lid at the top of the hill, and it's Alex Barroso's Z4. He's upside down in the dipper. And just like that, he's out.
Wow. And he was the one right there on the second row to start this race. So between Cobb and Barroso, they're out, leaving you with Dukic and O'Gorman.
Yep, not a whole lot has changed. I'm going to see if we can maybe go back and take a look at that briefly. So Barroso tumbling at the top of the hill. How did this start? Looks like he just went over the edge of the curb in McPhillamy Park and just looped it around, got into the fence, and rolled over. So just a single car incident, which is amazing considering where it was and what lap we're on. Oh, Val DiPietro in front of Max Toyer. Loop for contact there at the exit of the bottom of the hill. And they're going to keep going, but Alessandrini's got to run on loop for now down towards Conrad Strait. On board with Alessandrini.
Pretty much picking up right where he left off. in that first race, right back on the heels. And again, it looks like while there's clear track in front of him, Mario's going to try and just inch it out and see if he can get a couple second lead before he starts catching the back of the TCRs.
Yeah, 0.6 of a second lead in GT3. Meanwhile, Del DiPietro working by Kevin Glass in TCR. That's for third. And they didn't have the big breakup in pace that, or rather in track position that they had in race 1, because they didn't crash at the top of the hill like they did in race 1. So that gives Alessandrini a much better chance at making up all the ground he needs to make to get back to the lead in TCR. Meanwhile, Ryan Christoph has had a big incident in turn 2. He's going to have an issue. He'll pull off the track. And this might have been off the bumper of Jackie Ding. Here's a replay. This is into turn 2. Was there contact? And no, I think he just got loose. Nope, no contact at all. Just went off and crashed all on his own in turn 2. Ducic continues to lead Tom O'Gorman, Austin Cobb. House Seal in 5th. And maybe, is there a little damage on the right side of that car? He might have had a little bit of contact. Nope, that car's all clean looking. Just looked like it from the wrong angle.
It's so easy to just tap a wall. Those things just tend to happen around here.
DiPietro leads a charge of several TCRs up the hill towards McPhillamy Park. Alessandrini's going to look to driver's right. Can we do side-by-side through the top of the hill here, Larry? I don't think that's a great idea.
I would not recommend it.
Yeah, we're going to do it. Here they go. Alessandrini up the inside. Yep.
He tends to do his own thing, and he's going to try and make it work, but he's got someone behind him that looks like Max. He's going to try and follow him through.
Oh, man, that's dicey down the hill towards the Dipper, and Lupfer gets on through as well. DiPietro loses 2 spots in 1 corner.
Max said, good enough for DJ, good enough for me.
Made it work. That was a gutsy move.
It is. It is for both of them. And for Max to say, I'll just follow and hook around on DJ's bumper. DJ, stick your foot down and just go. Wow. Hill came out, stick your foot down, front drive, make it happen. But Max able to get back in front of him as DJ Slow coming off of the Forest elbow onto Conrad Straight.
Nick Nelson in the 663 working over Vincent Cernuto in the 555. 2 McLaren, or excuse me, Mercedes GT3s down towards turn 2. The silver 555 glinting in the evening sun. And a little wide goes Cernuto. Oh, Austin Cobb slow and stopped. I think Cobb's had an issue.
No, because he actually was starting to run strong there.
This is down on the exit of turn 2. It already got damage from the turn 2 wall. Tracked out a bit too far. Then goes up. And he's going to spin. Oh, he just understeers into the concrete and called it a day. Unfortunate.
He had recovered from that rough start. Got himself into the 3rd spot. Unfortunately, not going to continue.
Patrick Gallagher, gutsy move down the inside of Kevin Lee. Takes 5th place away in the 00. Lee back to 6th. Eric Catil in 7th in the 82. It's
an interesting battle here with this group, because they're pretty tight there between Lee and Gallagher and Catil.
Long Conrad Straight. Let's just ride on board with Catil here. 150 miles an hour in the draft. 160 miles an hour under the bridge. 165 easily. 170.
He's going to try the pass too.
173 off to the inside. Big dive on the brakes. 175 was the terminal velocity of that car. On the binders into the chase. Couldn't make the pass stick.
Wow. Those speeds are insane. 175 miles an hour down that straight.
And all the momentum into the braking zone too. You're really trusting the ABS there to not give out on you.
Yeah, you think about it, just the power of these brakes to haul down. These are not the lightest cars in the world, but to bring them down that quickly from that kind of speed is just amazing.
It is incredible. And you're trusting the ABS. You just put your foot to the floor and stomp on it. And all the way slow down from 175 to about 75 for that corner. Leading off about 100 miles an hour. Meanwhile, back in TCR, Miles Gilsinger has the lead. Samuel Engelbert in 2nd. Alessandrini holds 3rd. Loop for 7/10 back from that in 4th.
Pretty good sized lead too. He's up to about 2.5, 3 seconds now. But DJ did not let the pack get away from him this time. He's back on the heels of Max, but they're only, what are they, about 6 seconds behind Miles?
Yeah, well, looks like they're about 5-6 seconds back. At least Luke
so he's a lot closer in this race than he was in the first race at this stage. Just kind of keeping an eye on DJ and kind of mixing his way through.
Yeah, not quite as quick as Gilsinger the last time through, though. So I think Alessandrini's got some work to do. He's got some traffic to pass as well. Samuel Engelbert, 2nd place in TCR. Down the inside into the final corner. Bit of contact there, and Alessandrini gets all sorts of sideways, but front-wheel drive saves it, mashes the throttle to the floor. And he might lose a spot here, but he's going to save it.
He's being aggressive, that's for sure. And Max is holding you honest. Every time DJ makes an aggressive move and bobbles the car, Max is right there to take the spot back.
So 12 minutes left, not quite to halfway in this race, and things have kind of fizzled at the front of each category, although TCR still has time to heat up. How about Katil and Kevin Lee trading positions? This is side by side down Conrad Straight. Oh, that got really dicey. Katil up to P6, a little loose though. Tracks out a bit wide, and Lee's gonna have an opportunity to get it back.
He's gonna go to Katil's gonna go defensive though as they come into Murray's corner here at the last turn before the pit straight.
Crossover by Lee, tries to get the power down. You saw the car bobble a little bit. Traction control reeling in the right foot of the number 5.
And Katil just wants to work on Gallagher in front of him, but he can't seem to shake Lee behind him.
Another dive down into turn 1. And they're going to drag race again up towards turn 2.
Yeah, I suspect this is far from over.
Yeah, I think these guys are so equal right now. Katil better in the back half of the course. I think Lee's a little bit quicker in the front half. And certainly putting pressure on him. Ran a little wide.
Yeah, that seemed to help Katil a little bit. Just a little bit of breathing room there.
Gil Winningham, one of the Ferraris, tracing a Z4 up the hill. That's Brandon Cocker in the 31.
Something that's not a Mercedes. Good.
And Winningham currently in 12th place. This is in GT3. And then, of course, Jeff Royan in the number 30. That's that Audi R8 LMS in 13th place right now.
So just kind of keeping an eye at the front of the field right now is, again, Dukic has about a 1.8 second lead on O'Gorman, which is almost exactly where we were at the halfway point of the first race. About a 1.8 second lead over O'Gorman. Then they started catching the back of the TCRs. Now, I don't see yet that he's catching them not on this lap, but we know it's going to happen. And that played into the hands of Tom. So I'm just kind of waiting for this to happen. And there they go, right in front of these guys. There's a couple of TCRs that are in the gravel trap coming back on the track. Guess what's about to play out is some lap traffic.
Yeah, I think that is Kevin Glass in the number 45, and it looks like it is. So we're going to quickly jump back and see how he found himself in the gravel trap. He was racing the 38 of Jorge Ortiz into the chase, and I think what you're going to see is just a little loose on the brakes and slid off course. So Glass going to hit pit lane in the number 45. Not his night tonight. Now, Dukic into TCR traffic. O'Gorman in the background. You see flashing the headlights on his Mercedes AMG.
He does that.
Into turn 2, and now the climb up the hill. And this is where, if I'm Dukic, I'm watching that relative, because I don't want to get surprised here. If I see a caution flag, it's better safe than sorry. O'Gorman has to run the long way around the 38 as they climb the hill, so that was a little dicey there.
And that we didn't see in the first race. We did not see Tom get stuck behind a car that Mario was having trouble with. It was always Tom was able to slip right through every time Mario struggled. So here's a chance where Tom had to wait a little longer, and you can see the gap. Tom lost about a second and a half because of that. But now you got Mario coming across Skyline with a couple of TCRs in front of him.
Oh, man. He's off the gravel. Oh, he's on the brakes, too, and down the hill. That was a dicey moment.
All of Mother Earth to get through that corner.
Oh, to the inside, contact with another TCR, bounce off the fence, hard into the fence, right in front of Tom O'Gorman. Does he get through? Somehow he does, as left a whole mess of cars behind him. It's Pennington and Nicholas Sarter in the 4. That's the yellow car that got turned over.
Wow. I don't know how Tom was able to get through that. But in the end, right back where we were about a half a lap ago, 2-second lead.
Wow, that was really tight. O'Gorman through. I got a pronunciation correction. It's Jukic is the pronunciation with a J.
Jukic. Okay.
So I want to thank Evolution Sim Sport.
That in.
Yep. Evolution Sim Sport for helping us out. So Jukic up front in the 27. We had to take a guess and guess something. Well, I wouldn't say it was that far off.
Appreciate that. He's leading the race. You got to make sure we get it right.
O'Gorman to the inside now of, that's the 944 Max Toyer, pass completed. And Jeff Arroyo and Vincent Cernuto now, this is for 11th, and car off in front of them. It's a TCR machine, I believe. Yes, it is. And it is being driven by, I believe that was Mitchell Townsend in the number 12.
So the battle for third right now. You take a look at that real quick.
Yep.
Jaeger and Halcyon. Halcyon's right on his tail.
And Halcyon does have some damage to the right side of his car, or actually the front right of his car. So he's had a little bit of contact somewhere, but chasing down the 130. Now they're entering lap traffic. Oh, that was dicey on the brakes.
Halcyon was the quickest car on the track right now. 201's his last time by far the quickest car out there.
Yeah, Jukic and O'Gorman were both slower than 202s, which is way off pace with how much traffic they were dealing with. So I expect we'll see a drop in pace by these other cars. Meanwhile, in TCR, let's go there. How about this battle for the lead? 3 cars all together, Gilsinger, Alessandrini, and Lupfer. You can't even throw a blanket over them. They're that close together down the hill.
Lupfer is not going to let DJ get away. No matter whatever DJ's strategy was to try and win from the back, Max is going to say, not today. I'm going to be in your mirrors all along.
And there was a car stuck at the top of the hill. It's Andrew Rasmussen in the 6. Now we're side by side with more cars.
Guess who's coming through?
Oh, that's the battle for third.
It is. And DJ's not going to move over to let him by. He's being somewhat nice and staying in line, but...
Man. Now Conrad straight. Now that's a good place to catch lap traffic. And there goes third place battle in GT3. Oh, Gilsinger and Alessandrini knocking fenders together as they head towards the chase.
A little bit of dirt on the right there for DJ as he made the track a little bit wider, but he's got the advantage now. At least he's on the right side of his braking zone, but...
Crossover. Alessandrini to driver's left. They have a great run here. Gilsinger shuts the door on him into the final corner.
That's a great defensive move. That's a great line to take to hold your... And he's doing... This is fair. I don't think this is blocking. I think it's great defensive driving.
Lupfer up the inside for a second. What a move by the 688. Pass complete.
Everything... Like I said, everything that DJ is doing, everything that makes a mistake and over makes a move, Max is right there to fill the gap behind him whenever DJ messes up. This is great.
5th place Patrick Gallagher in the 00 GT3. He's on through. And right in the middle of this incredible battle for the lead in TCR. GT3, it's Jukic by 4.5 seconds, but we're going to stay with the TCR battle as they work their way towards turn 2. 7th place GT3 car. Kevin Lee up the inside. 3 wide here for a moment. Contact. Gilsinger. Lupfer get together. Crash in turn 2 and they're out.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Just a little bit of contact under braking there. Just hands the lead to DJ.
And Alessandrini is the lone survivor of the clash of the leaders.
Oh, it's just unfortunate. That was exciting. We're just watching that. They were such clean racing all the way to that point.
Here's a couple replays for you. And again, they were put 3 wide by the GT3 car. Lupfer just moves over. And then Gilsinger just drifts a little bit to the right. There just wasn't enough room there. And the GT3 car got wadded up in that Volt liveried machine. I didn't see who that was. Might have been, I'm trying to see what car that could have been, but yellow Ferrari.
That's unfortunate. That was a pretty good race there.
Jukic, 3.6 second lead. He lost a little bit over the hill. Some damage on the nose of that car, so he's been in the back of somebody. And we'll have 4 minutes to go.
He's pulling away again from Tom.
5th place, Patrick Gallagher, Eric Catil, 0082. This is for 5th.
This is where, once Catil was able to shake Kevin Lee behind him, Catil wanted to get his sights set on Gallagher, and looks like he's able to. Now, just about 2 laps to go.
Brake light shattered on the right rear of the 00. And as you mentioned, about 2 laps left in this race. And Catil now putting pressure on P5. And he was quicker by 0.4 of a second than Gallagher last time through.
Good run to turn 1. He might be close enough to make a move before they get to the end of the straight.
Catil all over the back of the 00. Moves over on the 16. That's Kevin Zhu in the TCR car, but somehow they didn't crash. Gallagher a little bit wide. And Catil to the outside now. It's double wide going up the hill.
Oh, so tight through there. This is where I just can't believe how narrow this track is. Yeah, one of them had to back off. You just can't go too wide through cutting.
Gallagher hangs on for now. Catil's still going to put pressure on, though. And now the downhill part, which is all momentum and just managing speed and trying not to track out too much or track out too little. Got to use every little bit of the racetrack from wall to wall.
And just imagine now, all of a sudden there'd be a kangaroo that would jump out in front of you. That's what we normally would be dealing with. They have not modeled that yet in the sim. I think they may be coming in the next build with it.
Ooh. More dicey action. Passing another TCR into Forest Elbow. Dive under. Oh, that was too optimistic. Catil takes out the 0-0. Oh, and he gets rammed up from behind by the 5 Kevin Lee. But Gallagher and Catil get together, and that's going to do it for both of them. Yeah, that was a little optimistic. I think he realized that after he got on the brakes too late.
Yeah, I think so. Just a little bit. No, it's all it takes. It is one little tap, and you lose a little bit of momentum. Back end slides out, and now you're across the track, and you just can't get out of that because too much traffic happening.
So while that was going on, Tom O'Gorman has somehow gained 3 seconds on Jukic, and it's the final lap. White flag in the air. 8/10 separate O'Gorman from Jukic.
Yeah, I did not see how that had happened, but now that it has. A lap to go. I don't see anyone in front of him that's going to disrupt this, at least not for the next corner or two. But he's gaining on this straight. He's taken about 2/10 out since they were on the pit straight now going through toward cutting. I just wonder if Mario has got an issue with the car.
The damage on that car, I believe that was sustained from the crash going down the mountain with the TCR, the yellow TCR that he got into. I don't think that the damage is affecting the performance of that car a whole lot through the hill section. It might be hurting him a little bit on the straights, but I don't think it's worth 3.5 seconds. So it could have been traffic, could have been a mistake.
Tom's taking time out. Now it's down to 4/10, and again, they were at about almost 9/10 when they came across start finish.
Down the hill for the final time, down the mountain, Jukic and O'Gorman. It's now 2/10 of a second as they jump down the mountain.
Yeah. Tom almost now just has to be patient.
Last run.
We just saw with Catil. You know, we want to now see patience, wait till the straightaway, where the bodywork damage should probably slow him down. Tom's able to make a clean pass.
Last run on the final straightaway here. It's the chase and 2 more corners. O'Gorman with a huge run on Jukic. Where is he going to go? Is he going to swing driver's right or go to driver's left? Jukic's going to stay defensive, stays to the left. O'Gorman jumps the curb into the chase on the binders. ABS vibrating through the floorboards. O'Gorman to the lead. Contact, and he spins off the nose of the 333. And Jukic is through. I believe that there was. And Jukic's actually going to slow up. And it's too little too late. Christopher Yeager in the 130. He's going to come up, and Jukic is going to bail on slowing down. And Yeager's in the fence, going to take out Ken Ausil at the line. O'Gorman's going to slide on through and retake second place. No, Jukic's going to pull over, and everyone's just stopping, and Ken Ausil will win the race. What a cluster that was.
That just got a little bit of interesting. I think Mario got credit for the win. I think.
He did.
Yeah. And then Ken got second. I think Tom was given third. I don't know how.
That was just a very chaotic ending, so we'll take a look at it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jukic by 1.4 seconds over Ken Ausil. That's the unofficial result. O'Gorman in third.
It's definitely contact, because I see Mario apologizing to Tom, giving him the old sorry Tom in the text chat here. So that's unfortunate. Mario realizing his mistake there. Tom appeared to make a pretty good pass there, had the outside line.
Yeah, that was a confusing way to end that, that's for sure. DJ Alessandrini comes home through. He's going to win TCR by a fairly large margin over Val Di Pietro. That was the strangest ending that I think I've ever seen in Grid Life iRacers. We'll go take a look at it here in just a moment. But I think O'Gorman off the bumper of Jukic, and I think Jukic didn't want to just go out and take the win. He felt bad about that, and he stopped, but O'Gorman was too far back, and it just became very awkward as people were trying to figure out who was supposed to let who by.
Sure, yeah. I mean, standard protocol in these is if you knock somebody, you spin them, you try to give them the spot back. But, you know, when you've only got a couple seconds to do this, and all of a sudden Ausil and Yeager come through, you've got to, you got to keep going.
I guess so.
He tried to be the gentleman thing and let him through, but yeah, at that point, mayhem kind of ensued.
Yeah, so here's another look. We're going to take a look at exactly how this transpired. So, again, here is the pass that O'Gorman made on outside of the chase. Yeah, then I don't know if O'Gorman overslowed a little bit, or we're going to look at this in slow motion, but they definitely get together. Here's a look from up above. And O'Gorman moves to driver's right to make the pass, swings around the outside. And again, I don't know if he overslows or he's on the brake, still slowing through the apex, and I think that catches Jukic off guard. I wouldn't really completely, entirely blame that on Jukic, to be totally honest with you, Larry, but he felt bad either way and came to a stop.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm wondering if Tom didn't quite give a ton of room on the inside. Then again, he did have the line. He had, 3/4 of his car ahead of Mario. I don't know, they needed to give him a lot of room. Mario might have just kind of missed the braking point, kind of slid a little bit deep, and just kind of gave him the old pit maneuver.
Yeah, then the finish. They were doing a lot of the slowing after the race, which is why it looked so confusing. Yeah. But the actual finish, take a look here. The start-finish line is a lot farther up the road or towards the final corner than we thought. So Jukic did come across the line and win the race by about 1.5 seconds over Ken Houseel. So that was a very chaotic way to end that thing. Here's one last run through your results before we jump to break and talk to a couple of these people. Whew. Okay.
Yeah. Just a little bit crazy there.
I guess we'll
good
call
run
it.
for Ken to come back from his rough start in the first race to end up on the podium here in the second race. Good for him there. Good finish there for Kevin Lee as well. Finished in the top 5. Down in TCR ranks, if you get those results up. Good run for DJ to start in the back. Tough there that we had that good run there going on in that group there, unfortunately. When that group unfortunately had their bit of an incident there. Broke all that up, but DJ came out victorious there in TCR. It's good racing though.
Absolutely. We're going to be back in just a couple minutes. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back live to Sim TV and the Grid Life iRacer Sports Car Challenge. DJ, we're leading the race by a whole bunch there. What happened on the last lap?
There's a jump on Bathurst, and I told all the people in the TCR that I was going to take the jump on the last lap, and I think they thought I was kidding, and I sent it over the jump. And surprisingly, the TCR is very good at jumping, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so tonight's races, I think from the majority perspective, I think we thought that went pretty well, at least race one did. Your thoughts on how things went tonight?
I was just having a bunch of fun. I mean, I couldn't get a clean lap to save my life. I don't know where I was getting the 1X. I was taking the fast line over the jump, and I just none of the laps stuck. I don't know. It was weird. I was running 2:14s with the jump, but yeah. So I just had to start from the back each time, and it was a ton of fun just carving through the traffic, and it was chaos. Doing risky passes on the mountain. It was just I had a blast. TCR was a ton of fun tonight.
This racetrack is always a challenge, and every corner can often hide a nasty surprise with a car kind of prone off to the side. Do you have to drive it any differently with the expectation that your race could end at any moment?
If your spotter says slow car ahead, you kind of choke up a little bit to make sure you have a race later. But I was pretty much full send through the whole thing. The TCR car is like a tank. You bounce off of walls, and it really doesn't care. You don't even really get aero damage on the thing, so it makes it really fun to just be a hooligan. All
right, DJ Alessandrini wins race number 2 in TCR tonight. DJ, congratulations. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Move on now to Tom O'Gorman. I think Lefty, I'll let you have this one.
Hey, Tom. You put on some pretty interesting races tonight. First race, as you were trying to chase down Mario, he seemed to have a better pace than you in a lot of the race, but then as you got the traffic, he would get caught up and you wouldn't. You were basically able to kind of thread through and follow and make the race pretty interesting. Did you notice some of that? And you had a bit of an advantage getting through traffic where he seemed to be struggling, and then you got to the second race and it seemed to work opposite for most of the race. Talk to me a little bit through that.
Yeah, big time. Tonight was all about traffic. Also, hi, Larry. Good to talk to you.
Hey, Tom. Here it is.
Yeah, the first race I was able to cling just enough that as he would catch the TCR cars, it would balk him just enough that I could use my momentum to kind of get through that traffic in the hole that he had also opened. And unfortunately, in the second race, the very first TCR car we caught me up a little bit, and it didn't catch him up at all. So then I was kind of out of that, if you want to call it traffic draft. I think it's kind of like a traffic draft. So I didn't have those opportunities to kind of stick with him. And he had just driven away at that point until one of the TCR cars, I didn't watch the incident, but looked like they must have gotten together or something and brought him back to me. So that's really unfortunate from that perspective. But
yeah, and we had kind of looked at some other battles a little bit. We had seen you had dropped back about 4 or 5 seconds back, and about 2 laps to go, we looked and seen you started gaining again. In fact, as you started the last lap, you were about 1 second down. We don't know if there was something up with Mario's car because suddenly you were on a tear. In fact, going across Skyline, you're 2/10 right on his tail, almost forcing yourself to be patient. Walk us through coming down the mountain and then down the Conrad Straight, how you were setting up and through the last couple of corners.
Yeah, I was honestly thinking to myself through the race, man, race 1 was my race for traffic, and race 2 is his race for traffic, because I just kept getting balked and more balked and more balked. And then there must have been an incident on the second to last lap between he and a really backmarker TCR, which really stinks for him because they should be paying better attention. But that brought him back to me and also gave him damage. He had some front end damage. So I was gaining on him big time down the straightaways, as well as it put me kind of within striking distance. So I actually had the position into the final run down the back straight, and then he got into the back of me a little bit, turned me around, and then that turned into that madness of the last corner that you guys, I'm sure, saw.
We did. It was a bit confusing. We kind of understand. We think that Mario was probably trying to give you the spot back, and then realized it was too late, and tried to do the gentlemanly thing, but unfortunately, good racing. Otherwise, I think it was pretty exciting. Hopefully, Mario comes back and runs some more races with it because he's definitely got some pace, and he seemed to be pretty good at this.
Yeah, we found out he's Kobe Shields' fault. So, Kobe, if you're still watching, thanks for that.
Yes, thank you, Kobe. Make sure Mario comes back, and make sure Mario gets on the Discord so we can interview him too, because I suspect we'll need to in the future.
Probably.
So, all right, good racing tonight, Tom. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, absolutely exciting. Exciting in both classes. Exciting in the middle, in the front, the back of the pack. Yeah, maybe some incidents here and there, but frankly, I'm very impressed. I think the group did a very good job of trying to stay clean, stay out of the way if they weren't on pace. The front of the pack is just so fast. Love this group, and I'm looking forward to calling a few more of these races in the next few weeks. This is exciting stuff.
I was muted this whole time I was muting myself, so the last 30 seconds or so. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. And next week, I don't actually know where we're going next week. I have to take a look at my schedule.
Not sure either, but I'm sure it'll be exciting.
I'm sure it will be. Again, we had Watkins Glen week 1, Bathurst week 2, and week 3 looks like we are going to be headed to Mosport. So it'll be Canadian Tire Motorsport Park next week, and then the Nürburgring the week after. So really exciting schedule coming up. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. That's going to do it. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Washington, D.C. region SCCA iRacing League from Watkins Glen, New York with the Skip Barber car. See you later.